1.8 Voyaging towards the excellent writer's name Achyut Godbole. Short introductions about Achyut Godbole. Achyut Godbole was born on 1950. He was well known for his writing in Marathi and English. He is a prolific writer in various genres. He has promoted numerous original works as well as adaptation of work from the languages into Marathi. His writing style is informative and yet informal. He became chemical engineer from IIT Mumbai in 1972 and headed top management position in companies of great repute. Achyut Godbole was Indian writer in English. He had written English in Marathi and English language. Means two types of the languages are used for writing the literature by Achyut Godbole. His Marathi writer, he was chemical engineer in Mumbai in 1972 and he headed the management position in companies of the great reputation. Second paragraph. This is an autobiographical sketch penned by Achyut Godbole. Depicts his journey from middle class school boy to famous writer. He was a successful general manager of Patani computer system. He headed many of other reputed companies. Later became the famous writer. The present writer discusses his quest for excellence, how he developed a thirst for knowledge. He discusses the length of ingredient essential of success and ways to achieve it. Voyaging towards excellence. This is an autobiographical essay or autobiographical lesson of the writer Mr. Achyut Godbole. He was a middle class schoolboy in the same topic. He had explained his primary stage to developer stage in the same lesson. He was the general manager of Patni Computer Company and he was the famous writer of present age. So this lesson is focuses on his quest for excellence related with the title Voyaging towards Excellence. Now paragraph number 1. At a very simple upbringing, we were a lower middle class family. Our 30 square feet house not even as basic amenities such as a fan, a refrigerator, geyser, a dinner table or gas stove, leave alone an air conditioner or car. It was only when I entered the college I got a watch, we got dinner table and a gas stove at home. Nevertheless, culturally, I had reached childhood poets like Vinda Karandikar, Mangesh Padagaonkar, and Vasanta Bapad. Even to visit her home for hours, I could listen the discussions about poetry, literature, Marathi, and English. They used to talk about the Keshav Sut, Mardekar, Shakespeare, Charles Dickens, and Thomas Hardy. I did not fully understand their discussion depth, but I was immensely impressed. We also were lucky to have uh, P.T. Kumar Gandharva, Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, and Pandit Jashraj visit our place and talk about the Indian music till late night at some time down. This is how and the why developed my interest in literature, music during my school days. I did not even today not understand the grammar of music and began to love that tremendously since then. In the first paragraph, the writer has explained that he was middle class. He was middle class the boy. The total area of his house was 300 square feet. Means he was living in a small house. His family background was very poor background, but in the same background, he was living very happily. There was no refrigerator, no geyser, no basic amazement like stove, all those dining table, all those facilities were not available. Later on, those facilities were made facilitated by the writer. The great poets like Vinda Karandikar, Mangesh Padagaonkar, Vasanta Bapad, all those greats were every day coming in the house of the writer, and the writer was in contact with them. They were speaking about Charles Dickens, Shakespeare, all those great poets, foreign poets, they, they were taking discussions over those poets, but the writer did not understand what they are going to talk about the great poets, because he was not related with that subject. But day by day, uh, as a daily as a daily presence of those poets in the house of the writer became interested in the poetry, and he has started writing his poetry or the literature after taking the inspiration from those writers, and he began to love tremendously the literature. Paragraph number 1. लेखक म्हणतो की आमचं सुरुवातीचं जे जीवन आहे, हे आमचं सुरुवातीचं जीवन हे खूप खूप गरिबीचं जीवन आहे, आणि या गरिबीच्या जीवनामध्ये आम्हाला जीवन जगावं लागलं. तसं पाहिलं तर आम्ही मध्यमवर्गीय माणसं आहे. 300 स्क्वेअर फुटाच्या घरामध्ये आम्ही राहतो, आणि अशा घराच्या ठिकाणी आम्हाला गॅस, गिझर, रेफ्रिजरेटर कुठलं मिळणार, हे बघ मिळाल्या नाही, डायनिंग टेबल मिळालं नाही, आणि पुढं पुढं मग बदल होत गेला. आम्हाला मात्र या गोष्टी मिळत गेल्या, आणि आम्ही मात्र सुरुवातीचं जे काय रिच माझं बालपण आहे ते अत्यंत रिच गेलं, श्रीमंत गेलं, समृद्ध गेलं असं म्हणतोय. याचं त्याला काय सांगायचं आहे, तर रिच बालपण याचा अर्थ असा लेखकाला सांगायचा आहे की महान जे लेखक आहे त्याच्यामध्ये विंदा करंदीकर, मंगेश पाडगावकर, वसंत बापट यांचं येणं जाणं लेखकांच्या घरी होतं, आणि त्यामुळे ती माणसं त्यांच्या संपर्कात आल्यामुळे त्या लेखकाला स्वतःला खूप रिच चाइल्डहुड आहे असं लेखकाला म्हणावंसं वाटतं. आणि यामधून पंडित कुमार गंधर्व, भीमसेन जोशी यासारखी मोठी माणसं सुद्धा आमच्या संपर्कामध्ये आली, आणि ती माणसं आमच्या संपर्कात आल्यामुळं आम्हाला आमच्या जीवनाचा जो काही अर्थ आहे तो पाहायला मिळाला. आणि यामध्ये त्या लेखांच्या मध्ये वारंवार चर्चाच राहायची. शेक्सपियर, चार्ल्स डिकिन्स असे मोठ्या मोठ्या कवी लेखांच्या, फॉरेनच्या लेखांच्या विषयी चर्चा चालायची. ती चर्चा सुद्धा मला ऐकायला मिळायची, पण प्रत्यक्षात मला काही कळायचं नाही. पण हळूहळू त्यांच्यापासून मला प्रेरणा मिळाली, आणि प्रेरणा मिळाल्यानंतर मग मी माझं काम, लिटरेचरचं काम हळूहळू चालू केलं, असं फर्स्ट पॅरेग्राफमध्ये सांगतोय. सेकंड पॅरेग्राफ. Most of the times the topics discussions at our home were about music, literature, painting, sculpture. I could listen to discussions about Van Gogh and Moseri and Michelangelo. It has become such a milieu around. I had firm belief which I still hold all arts equally, not more important our lives. Science and technology had learned from childhood that money does not mean everything in life. It is necessary, but it all there is something which enriches our lives, puts meaning, existence, art, music, and literature. In the second paragraph, the writer has explained that the subjects like painting, drawing, all those subjects were related with literature. But I have not interest. But there was a discussion going on the Michelangelo, the great painter. The discussions going on them, but I am not interested in science and technology, because it does not mean everything in life. Because money is not everything in my life, but it is necessary for us in the course of time that puts the meaning of our existence. लेखक म्हणतो की वेगवेगळ्या चर्चा आमच्या घरामध्ये चालायच्या, मायकल एंजेलो सारखे वगैरे. सायन्स आणि टेक्नॉलॉजीशी चर्चा चालत नसे, कारण ते लिटरेचरशी चर्चा आहे. परंतु माझ्या मतानुसार असं मला म्हणायचं आहे की जीवनामध्ये पैसा हा सर्वस्व नाही. जीवनामध्ये पैसा हा सर्वस्व नाही. पैसा माणसाला सर्व माणुसकी मिळवून देत असं नाही. काही काळासाठी पैशाला किंमत द्यावी लागते. त्यानंतर मात्र आपणाला जीवन समृद्ध जगायचं असेल तर काही जीवनमूल्य आपण आणली, जीवनामध्ये आणली पाहिजे. मध्ये आर्ट आहे, म्युझिक अँड लिटरेचर असं लेखक म्हणतोय. थर्ड पॅरेग्राफ. This is not say that I did not like science or mathematics. In fact, I loved these subjects. However, I did not study them only for scoring maximum marks in examination. I used to study these subjects, any subject for that matter, of inherent beauty. I found Newton's law of motion beautiful, and Pythagorean theorem elegant. I loved solving problem of physics and mathematics in 9th standard when I was 7th, not to show off, but just because I wanted to get involved in solving them. I wanted to love problem solving, and you wanted to enjoy finding out most elegant method of solving them. Obviously, these problems were not part of the curriculum, but I enjoyed the whole process. This attitude of looking beyond mark of examination, and 6, joy in solving challenging problem helped me to develop problem-solving attitude, which come which came handy when I appeared IIT entrance because this exam is completely based on your problem-solving ability, that ability to think not only logically but quickly and rapidly. Science and mathematics. Science and mathematics are not the interested subject of the writer, but it is necessary to take interest in them because that stage was the stage of the learner. That stage was the stage of student. So he was taking interest in them, but he was not getting fully marks in those subjects. But he was doing study of that subject. Whenever he was learning in 10th, 7th standard, he was solving different types of the problems of the 9th standard, like Pythagoras theorem, Newton's laws of motion. All those problems are solved by the writer whenever he was learning in 7th standard. That example telling us the capacity of the writer or the grasping power of the writer from early to progress stage. So he is solving those problems very, very clearly. But with the presence of those subjects, he had got an important technique, and that technique was problem solving capacity. The writer had got the problem solving capacity, and that problem solving capacity was very useful to the writer for the IIT entrance exam, that ability not only locally but quickly and rapidly. लेखक म्हणतो की या भागामध्ये म्हणतोय की मला मॅथमॅटिक्स आणि सायन्स जे आहे यामध्ये मला पूर्ण इंटरेस्ट नाही आहे, परंतु मला माझ्या शालेय जीवनामध्ये विद्यार्थी दशेमध्ये याच्यामध्ये इंटरेस्ट घेणं गरजेचं वाटलं, आणि म्हणून मी ज्यावेळेला 7वीला होतो तर 7वीला असताना मी 9वीच्या विद्यार्थ्यांची पायथागोरसचं प्रमेय आणि न्यूटनचे गतिविश्व नियम याची उदाहरणं मी पटापट सोडवत असे. म्हणजे माझ्यामध्ये ग्रास्पिंग कॅपॅसिटी खूप मोठी होती, पण तरी पण मी या विषयांच्यामध्ये 100% मार्क्स पाडू शकलो नाही, ही मला खंत वाटली. परंतु या विषयाची ज्यावेळेला मी सानिध्यामध्ये आलो, या विषयांच्या सानिध्यामध्ये आल्यानंतर मला असं वाटलं की आपल्यामध्ये काही ना काही कॅपॅसिटी तयार झालेली आहे, आणि बरोबर ती प्रॉब्लेम सॉल्विंग कॅपॅसिटी मला IITची जी एक्झाम आहे, इंडियन इन्स्टिट्यूट ऑफ सायन्स अँड टेक्नॉलॉजी जी एक्झाम आहे, ती एक्झाममध्ये प्रवेश परीक्षेमध्ये उदाहरणं सोडण्यासाठी त्याचा खूप फायदा झाला असं लेखकांना म्हटलेलं आहे. I scored 100 marks in mathematics in almost all the examination that appeared from my first standard until IIT, barring only few times. I stood 16th in the SSC board. At that time, this examination was for the whole of Maharashtra, including Nagpur, and I stood first in university in all the subjects but together. Those days you could get the admission into IIT without entrance test JEE if you had secured first rank in university. Therefore, I did not have to appear for the entrance test to get the admission into IIT. But today in Solapur, about it, I stood if by anybody in Solapur even knew about the rule. Therefore, I appeared for the entrance examination and secured very good rank in the same. In the subject like mathematics, the writer had got 100 marks. He was not interested in the early stage, but he had got 100 marks in the same subject. And he stood first in the subject, but in SS examination, he stood 16th in all over Maharashtra. At that time, there was only one board was there. The Pune board was there. Nagpur board was there. In the same board, he stood 16th in SS examination and first class in university level examination. So, without an entrance examination, I got the admission in Solapur. He told about it. Solapur even know about the rule was appear to entrance examination. Secured very good rank in the same entrance examination. लेखक सांगतो की मला गणितामध्ये 100 पैकी 100 गुण मिळाले, आणि ज्यावेळेला मला गणितामध्ये 100 पैकी 100 गुण मिळाले त्यावेळेला मी स्वतःला धन्य समजलो. पण त्यावेळेचं जे बोर्ड होतं ते एकच बोर्ड होतं, त्यामुळे नागपूर बोर्ड होतं. आता सारखं बोर्ड नाही, छोटी बोर्ड. त्यावेळेला मोठं बोर्ड होतं पुणे बोर्ड. त्यामध्ये मला गणितात 100 मार्क मिळाले. त्यावेळेला मी इयत्ता 10वीला महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 16वा आलो. महाराष्ट्रामध्ये 16वा आल्यानंतर त्यानंतर परत मी युनिव्हर्सिटी लेवलला फर्स्ट क्लास घेतला, आणि त्यानंतर माझ्याकडे प्रॉब्लेम सॉल्विंग कॅपॅसिटी असल्यामुळं समस्या निराकरण क्षमतेची ताकद माझ्याकडे असल्यामुळे मी पुढे एंट्रन्स एक्झाम मला देण्याची गरज वाटली. जेईला मी फायनलला आलो आणि अशा प्रकारे मला IITला प्रवेश मिळाला. पण या ठिकाणी एंट्रन्स एक्झाम ही मला चांगलेच गुण मिळाले असं लेखाने तर सांगितलंय. नेक्स्ट पॅरेग्राफ. I was quite happy getting into IIT, but my joy was shortlisted at Solapur. I had not seen any building which was more than 3 stories. Mumbai, however, was full of skyscrapers at IIT. Most of the students and professors used to conserve in English, whereas my English was very poor. I had my entire education in Marathi. My spoken English was quite pathetic. Not only did I have a very weak vocabulary, but my pronunciation also terrible and construction of English sentences very awkward. To say the to say to say the at least due all this, I was feeling quite lonely and terrified. In Mumbai in general and IIT particularly, I had developed the inferiority complex and wanted to run away from IIT, even Mumbai. The writer had got the admission in IIT in Mumbai. Actually, he was very overjoyous, but his joy was not remained forever because whenever he went to Mumbai for the IIT, that time he saw the skyscraper building, tall buildings in Mumbai, 3 stories building, and that was the very wonderful things for the writer. But the writer was not good in English subject. In English pronunciation was not good pronunciation. Rough pronunciation was there. He did not understand what the professors were speaking. All those problems faced by the writer because he was a Maharashtrian student and his mother tongue language was Marathi. So he did not understand 100% the lectures delivered by his professors. But feeling quite lonely, that is terrified. But that feelings were touchy feelings of the writer. So he had compared those feelings with the inferiority complex. And he wanted to away. So he wanted to go away from IIT, even from Mumbai. या पॅरेग्राफमध्ये त्यानं सांगितले की मला IITला ऍडमिशन मिळालं आणि मला सोलापुरी असल्यामुळं मला यातलं 100% ज्ञान आहे, कारण मी महाराष्ट्रीयन विद्यार्थी होतो. माझी मातृभाषा मराठी आहे आणि माझी मातृभाषा मराठी असल्यामुळं माझं बोलणं मराठीत राहतं. पण ज्यावेळेला मी IITला मुंबईला गेलो त्यावेळेला मुंबईमधल्या गगनचुंबी इमारती पाहिल्यानंतर मला खूप वेगळं वाटलं, कारण मला त्या वातावरणात राहण्याची सवय नव्हती. तरी देखील मी ॲडजस्ट करण्याचा प्रयत्न केला. पण माझं स्वतःचं इंग्रजी जे आहे ते खूप खराब होतं, कारण मला इंग्रजी विषयामध्ये इंटरेस्ट नव्हता. मला इंग्रजी चांगलं बोलता येत नव्हतं, माझे इंग्रजी उच्चार चांगले नव्हते. पण माझ्या वर्गामध्ये ज्या वेळेला माझे विषय शिक्षक प्रोफेसर्स जे लेक्चर द्यायचे, जे व्याख्यान देत असत, ते व्याख्यान इंग्रजीमधून असायचं, उच्च लेवलचं असायचं. त्यावेळी ते काय म्हणतात हेच मला कळायचं नाही, कारण माझी मदर टंग लँग्वेज ही मराठी असल्यामुळं. आणि मग त्यावेळेला माझ्या मनाला अपराधाची भावना तयार व्हायची. मी स्वतःला खूप अपराधी समजायचा. म्हणजेच कसं, माझ्या मनामध्ये न्यूनगंड तयार झाला, एक कमी तऱ्हेची भावना तयार झाली. परंतु अशा वेळेला मग मला वाटायचं IIT जे आहे हे IIT सोडून मुंबई सोडून पळून जावं असं लेखकाला वाटतं. One day I was sitting at my mess table in the hostel sipping tea when a senior guy came and sat on the chair and adjacent to me. Senior guy came and on the chair adjacent to me. He was a convent-educated guy, fairly sophisticated English, at least spoken colloquial English. He was a bit arrogant. He wanted to pull my leg. He tried to engage some conversation with me and started pointing out error just about every sentence or everything that I said. After 5 minutes, he walked away after insulting me. I felt extremely humiliated and upset. As it is, I was feeling quite depressed and deficient. That incident was a last straw. Last straw, I almost spoken, felt out of the place, and literally wanted to run away to Solapur the very moment. It was my self-esteem and stopped suddenly feeling determination. Strength came over me, gripped me, despite hailing from Solapur. If I could be a rank holder in the school, college, IIT without any hours of mathematics, there must be something right me. But I should give up and do for silly, small thing like English. I was not give up anymore. I determined to fight back. The senior students were sitting nearby the chair of the writer in the mess, and they were talking colloquial English language. The writer did not know the English language, so they were making fun of the writer and then dispersed from the place. But writer kept quiet. The writer was the ranker in SS examination, entrance examination, in IIT examination. But the drawback of the writer was he was not good in English language because the he was a child coming from the rural area of the Solapur, but he had decided to do the level best in those subjects like a mathematics, and he developed his English language, and anymore he determined to fight back. एके दिवशी लेखक ज्या वेळेला मेसमध्ये बसत असे जेवणासाठी त्याची इतर सहकारी येत असत आणि ते बोलीभाषेतल्या इंग्रजीमध्ये बोलत असत आणि बोलीभाषेतल्या इंग्रजीमध्ये बोलत असताना लेखकाला ते वेगळ्या प्रकारची माप काढायची लेखकाला खूप कमी समजायची आणि ती कमी समजून त्या ठिकाणी निघून जायची. लेखकाला खूप खंत वाटायची पण पर्याय नव्हता आणि शेवटी लेखक म्हणतो मी SSC मध्ये पहिला आलो, एंट्रन्सला आलेलो आहे, त्यानं विद्यापीठीय लेवलला मी परीक्षा पास चांगल्या मार्काने झालो, परंतु माझ्याकडे जो इंग्रजी भाषा आहे ही इंग्रजी भाषेमध्ये मी स्वतःची प्रगती करू शकलो नाही याची खंत लेखकाला या ठिकाणी वाटते. आणि अशा प्रकारे व्हॉयेजिंग टुवर्ड्स एक्सलन्स याचा पहिला पार्ट येथे संपतो. थँक्यू.